Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, the podcast where Senator Joseph Cryan talks about the latest in New Jersey's 20th Legislative District. This week's guest, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver.
Welcome, everyone, to another Cup of Joe. And today I am especially honored. As we celebrate Black History Month, we are talking to someone who creates Black history each and every day, not just through the office she holds, but the action she carries. I am so very proud to have today as our guest the first female Congresswoman and the first Black female Congresswoman from the 10th District, representing the Township of Union and much, much more. But most importantly, I think representing a generation that wants things done, that represents not only mentorship as it happens over the lifetimes, but giving back to a community. It is my very great honor to enjoy a Cup of Joe today with Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. LaMonica, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here, Senator Cryan. A fan of the show, so it's great to be on, enjoying a Cup of Joe with you.
I appreciate you being here. So I really want folks to get to know you from this particular cast today. Talk to us about, you're Central Ward, Central Ward girl. Talk to us about, just growing up in the city, those sort of things. In the city of Newark, a lot of folks have the heritage to look back, as they do in New Jersey. You look back to the cities to where you came from.
Absolutely, yeah. So, of course, I'm born and raised in Newark. I talk about this a lot. I grew up in a small community called New Hope Village. It was actually created out of a low-income housing development project out of a church called New Hope Baptist Church, the Church of Whitney Houston, by the way. And grew up there, went to Warren Street School, which was right down the street from there. Went from Warren Street to Morton Street School. Both of them closed. I feel super seasoned to be saying that my elementary school is closed. And then went on to Central High School. My mom originally was born in Newark, but was raised in East Orange, where she, graduated from East Orange High School and then originated down to Newark, which Newark and East Orange is like 1 block away. So right in the community, but really enjoyed growing up. I mean, really where I got my sense of community from in elementary school. I talk about this a lot, that Ras Baraka was my 5th grade teacher, a very young 20-something-year-old teacher, looked very different from now, and no offense. And he was running for office for one of the first times for a council seat in the city of Newark. And many of us who were just 10 years old in the classroom was like, what's running for office, and really he showed us what that was and gave us kind of like a impromptu civic lesson while we were learning English language arts, which was really, really cool and interesting to learn that at the age of 10. So, yeah, I'm still a resident of the city of Newark, still live there. And really, learn the city. I feel like it's really helped me grow into the person that I am, into leadership and service, being from the city of Newark and, growing up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Ras Baraka teacher, huh?
Yep, literally. A good one, too.
I bet.
Yeah. We were like reading the rules for Emily, which was like college material in 5th grade, which, I mean, when I got to college then to study English literature at Bloomfield, I was like, oh, I've seen this before, which was really good. Like, right? Sometimes you get to college and you're seeing the content for the first time, but literally he was teaching us like, great literacy, at the age of 10.
People look at him now and just see but he's a mayor of Newark. He's a captivating public speaker. He clearly stands on principles, had an electric run for governor. You realize he's influenced lives for so many years.
Yeah, especially young people. I mean, you know how you're like in school. I don't know, Senator Cryan, when you were in school, like what kind of teachers like you guys captivated to. But when we were in school, the young teachers were like our favorite because we felt like they were closer to us in age. They were cool. We liked to, like chill with them and talk with them. They spoke our language. And so he was one of those teachers, like literally just cool. He dressed cool. We were like, this guy is cool. So, you kind of went into his classroom and like behaved, not like acted out.
Yeah, you listened up a little bit. Yeah. Well, at Sacred Heart in Valesburg, it was the nuns, but it was also on the lay teacher side. Miss Russo in 5th grade, never forget her in history and the impact she made, Miss Murphy in 6th. You remember folks that changed your life. Which, by the way, speaking of mentorship, because you grew up, civic engagement you mentioned, obviously Mayor Baraka, currently Mayor Baraka's influence, but you had some other kind of folks too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When I decided I was going to run for city council, I met Mildred Crump, who was the council president at the time and serving as a council at large. And really, Senator, she was a just force to reckon with. I mean, strong, dedicated, committed. I mean, when I said I was running, she was like, yes, we're going to be on the campaign trail. Let's go. And she literally would just call me early in the morning, like, we're going all day. Like, get ready. We're going to run all day. We're going to go meet these people. And she really, really grabbed me by the hand and gave me like a walkthrough lesson just about meeting, influential people who are in the city that I did not necessarily know. But also, too, just being able to watch her in go mode. I mean, many of us in elected office, we don't always, and this, we don't get like a guide. Like, you don't walk into a place and they give you, here you go, Senator, this is all you have to do. Like, no, sometimes you're figuring out things on your own, trying to learn how to be in this public space, right? Which, we don't always get mentors to teach us that. So I was really grateful to have, Mildred Crump to be able to teach me, to help me grow, to kind of help guide me in my the start to my leadership. It was really, really a blessing to have her.
Such a shy lady.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no. I mean,
Not in the least.
She was absolutely amazing. I mean, and worked so hard, even up, until her, elder season time. I mean, she worked like a young 19-year-old every day. I mean, going everywhere. And everyone loved her. She walked into a room and people really respected her and loved to talk with her.
So you've had influences. You go through the Newark school system, and you decide to run for council at some point, right? You mentioned this,
yep.
Mildred and walking. And I believe you become the youngest member ever on the Newark City Council. Am I correct about that?
Youngest woman.
Yeah,
youngest woman elected. I become the youngest president the next term. Definitely, an experience. One of the reasons why I decided to go with my run, to run for council, not because I didn't already have like a flourishing career, but because there were just no young people, and especially women. At the time, there were only 2 women serving on the Newark Municipal Council out of a body of 9 in a city, of 350,000 people, with mostly women leading households, And I thought that was just crazy to me that, there was no representation for young African-American women, young moms on the council. So that's why it was really important for me to run, to hope to bring some attention and awareness and engagement from our community on what was happening in city government.
So talk to us about it. So here we're celebrating Black History, the transition from, the younger member of the council, and how were your viewpoints different, and how did you kind of settle yourself in there to ultimately become the city council president? Correct?
Yeah, well, one of the things is I think I had a lot of identity with young moms, young working moms. I mean, when I came into the council, my daughter was 2 years old. And there was no one else on the council who had young age children. Many of their children were grown. I mean, they had grandchildren at that point. And that's even like the conversation now in Congress, too. There are not a lot of people who understand, like, going into the store, how much a gallon of milk costs,
right.
How much does food cost? I mean, how much do you pay for childcare? And these are important, things that you have to talk about on behalf of the residents. And so, that was the kind of, to me, the experience I brought to the council, talking about like growing up in a different era than the other members of the council. It wasn't any stunt to them or to say anything bad about them. It's just that we were from different generations and times. And I think I brought a new perspective on what time that I was from, being a millennial there.
And did you find in local government your colleagues listened?
Oh, no, of course not. It was extremely difficult, especially when I became the council president. I mean, once again, I'm a young woman. Everyone else is more seasoned than me. There were members that would sometimes give me a hard time. Not all of them. Some of them were very dear and delight. But, I had some colleagues that would remind me like, hey, I've been doing this since you were playing with Barbies. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thanks for reminding me. But ultimately we made it work. I think the one thing that is different from Congress to being on local city council is that we did what was right for residents, no matter what our differences was, no matter how we felt about one another, the politics behind it, the policies and policy differences. When it came down what was right for residents of Newark, as on my time in the council, we did that. Like, there was no argument about that. And now in Congress, it's like people don't care. They can't get out of their own selfish, personal, beliefs in order to help constituents, obviously because you have more members, right? There are 400 plus of us. But at the same time, they're just stuck in their own ways and they're not really focused on helping the people that elected them to serve them.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Well, I do think, folks, Newark is a city on the rise, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about that. But as you go and whether it's Central Ward, you see significant investments. And you see people not only, as they say, coming back and all that. More importantly than that, you see folks rising out of a community that continually make it better. And a lot of that happened under your watch.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Congress now, you're getting ready to run for a full term.
Yeah.
Correct?
Well, second full term.
Second full term. We'll talk about that. But that work and that foundation, a lot of that occurred during your time on the council.
Yeah. I spent 7.5 years there. And, Newark has been trying to get back, into a good footing since the Newark riots. Really, it's gone for a long time. And I think underneath Mayor Baraka's leadership in the Newark City Council, we've come a long way. I mean, is everything perfect? No, of course not. But I think all of the work that we put in, the affordable housing pieces, the transformation and development, I think all of that has really, really, put a dent in progress of where we're going. And I think we have more to do in the city of Newark. But I think what we've done has been remarkable. Yeah.
Kind of feel good a little bit when you take that breath.
It feels good looking back. If people think about where we came from to where we are now, it's a difference. I know folks have, inspirations to say, hey, we should be here, or we want more, we want this. And that's rightfully so for people to feel like that, the residents. But I think, you have to count every piece of progress that you make and just, applaud for that and know that we have more work to do.
I want to explore more the transition from city council and the younger girl in the block, shall we say, and all that to the Congress. But I really want folks to get to know you a little bit more. You have degrees from both Bloomfield College, I think.
Yes, I have a BA from Bloomfield College in English literature, and then I have a master's from Seton Hall University in educational leadership.
That took a couple minutes.
Yeah, definitely did. It definitely benefited my educational career. I started out working at Newark Public Schools as a future business leader, which was a high school program at the time. Worked my way up, became a college intern, then went to a clerk typist, a systems analyst, to an HR partner at Newark Public Schools alone. I spent a lot of time there underneath great leadership and working there. And then I decided to take my leadership experience on the road. So I went to work for Secaucus Public Schools as an HR director, went to Willingboro, which was really far. Really far. Stayed there for quite a while underneath a former superintendent that I used to work for in the city of Newark. And then from Willingboro, I went to Montclair as a personnel director there. And so got my feet wet a lot in education. That had always been like one of my dreams as a intern working at Newark Public Schools, was to become a director of human resources. I mean, something about hiring, great people to teach students and, also coming with the negative of getting rid of people who weren't great for teaching students. That kind of truly was my baby, and really loved doing that.
So academics inspire you, teachers inspire you to create a public life. You take your educational career and learn educational leadership and things like that. Then you develop a professional career, and then you take it into the public spectrum where you're able to share that insight with a whole lot of folks that just don't understand it. So would I be correct in that one?
Yeah, well, before then, me and my girlfriend, we had started a nonprofit organization called Newark Gals, Inc. This was during my time in working in education. And one of the reasons we started this organization was, number one, was to help young girls with life skills and help create leaders. And in that work, we helped actually open the first Women and Girls Center, a recreation community center in the city of Newark. And from that, we worked with Mayor Baraka. This is before any elected office that I had. And, that really was transformational for us too. And really something that, really makes me happy today. The center is still open, still thriving, still a center specifically for women and girls to have enrichment workshops. They run summer camps there, after school programs. And it's something that was extremely important to me. So when it was, hey, run for office, I'm like, no, not really. I like doing what I do in nonprofit. But it was like we were already doing most of some of the policy work and, working in the community already. So it was just like, moving over to council, that's how I got there.
Someone told me that there's over 3,000 young women in the city of Newark that have been touched by that program.
Yeah, yep. We every year we ran a girls conference where we would have hundreds of girls coming, a day of inspiration, motivation, and engagement for them. We did that for years. And then also too, we ran summer camps and after school programs. We did back to school resource fairs. I mean, you name it. We were really involved in our community there. And it, was really a transformational organization for sure.
So you're mentored and inspired as a young person by some of the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean, the reason why we started the organization was because if I would have, all of the people that you mentioned, Senator, if I would not have had those people, I would not be here today. I mean, it's all of those people that help you through the walks of life. All of the women I used to work with under, at Newark Board of Education who taught me how to be a professional down to, hey, wear some slacks and a button-up shirt. I mean, those are important, tools and life skills that, every young girl or young kid, for that matter, doesn't get, at home or, doesn't necessarily have that environment around them. And so it's nice to be able to instill those life skills to young people.
Good for you. So today you have the title of Congresswoman, right? And STEAM. Talk about the transition. What made you, the circumstances that brought you in, right? Was a significant loss, Congress pain. But talk about it and talk about that transition a little bit. And then
So I always wanted to run for higher office, to be in the federal space. I think, one, because being at local government, and you know this from being in state government, we lack a lot of resources from the federal government. I mean, we just should be having more. We should be getting more. And I was like, if I could get the chance to go, that would be my number one thing, delivering back to the municipalities, because we need the help, from the feds. And so that was a goal that I always had. Didn't know when that would be, though. I mean, definitely didn't, bet on it being as soon as it was. But obviously that happened from tragic loss. I mean, we lost Congressman Donald Payne Jr., which was a deep loss and cut to our community, someone who was institutional, in this seed, following his father's footsteps. And so after that happened, I'm like, hey, is this my shot to try to give it a go, to try to run and finish off the legacy and work of Congressman Donald Payne Jr. and also, strike a new trail, a new path of fire of going into office. And, it worked out. God, by the grace of God, it worked out, and here I am.
Oh, here you are. And we know that because here you are. We see you. You're in this district. The congressman had his way. You have yours, which is, out and about in the community. Folks see you, talk to you. What do constituents talk to you about?
Oh, well, first of all, constituents are extremely exhausted around the president right now. I think people are so worried. They're stressed. They're worried about, number one, immigration, their neighbors being picked on, people being scared to come outside for that matter. They're frustrated about affordability, right? I mean, people cannot afford to buy homes. They can't afford to get an apartment. Groceries are high. Health insurance is spiked. These are all of the things that they are talking to me about. And so, everywhere I go, that's what they're, concerned about. And they want to know, when is it going to get better? Seriously, yeah.
And what do you tell folks?
Well, I tell them, I talk to them about what we're doing, what we're working on. I talk to them about how we can assist them with anything that they have going on, what we do federally. I tell them that we have to continue to push forward and fight, and be the resistance of this administration. Many people want to know what they can do, right? Like, what can I do? I tell them, hey, call your representatives, not just me, but all up and down New Jersey, especially our other friends across the aisle, to basically, talk about what's important to them, and so that's the kind of action items I give them. I want people to be engaged and involved, but also, too, we talk to them about some of the wins that we've had. It's been crazy, right? But at the same time, we've had some wins. We're delivering over $10 million back to the district that we've been all up and about, handing out, money to municipalities and organizations. And so that's a good thing. But I mean, that's basically, all that I can tell them in this moment. And I let them know that, I'm fighting for you, I'm working for you, and I'm here for you.
So you talk, when you're in the halls of Congress and with your colleagues, does economic inequality, is it part of what's on the function these days? Are environmental issues also part of it? Or is it dominated by that cost of living affordability?
I feel like the folks across the aisle, my peers on the other side, are really wrapped up into what the president's agenda is, whatever that may be. And when it comes to talking about what's good for their constituents, that usually gets lost. And I feel like deep down inside, some of them really care about, thinking about their constituents, but they're just not there. They are all over the place, wrapped up in foolishness with the administration.
Well, making people beg for Gateway.
Yeah. I mean, which is crazy.
Gateway is a lifeline and an economic lifeline.
And thank God we were able to be successful in getting that turned back on. But I mean, why? Just the political foolishness of why that even stopped. You know what I mean? It's something that is good for the country, not just New Jersey and New York. It's good for the country.
So are you on small business and are you on Homeland Security?
Yes. Yep. Small business and crazy Homeland Security. Yeah.
You talk about the committee a little bit.
I mean, the committee, Homeland is very, very, strange. From my day one of going there, I was sworn in on one day. The next day I had committee, and I was sitting there, Senator, with my mouth open as colleagues talked oh my God, is this real? I mean, I think it was the first week I walked in, there was one member on the other side of the aisle who had posted this crazy post that Haitians really do eat cats and dogs. It was around the whole scenario of that. And everyone was just so much in a uproar about him doing that, which they should have been, right? Because that was awful. But I was thinking to myself, this is what you're doing in Congress? I mean, there's so much more to be working on and to be doing. But yeah, Homeland can definitely be very toxic at times. And I find that we spend a lot of time talking about some of the problems, but it's we're not actually, doing solutions to be able to fix some of the problems. Small business, a little bit more bipartisan, really focused on small business. Small businesses seem to matter to our colleagues across the aisle, it matters to Democrats, right? So we're always trying to work together to be able to deliver bipartisan, policies that will help our small businesses for sure.
That's certainly part of the economic backbone of this community.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here on this Black History Month, candidly, you make history every day. How's that feel?
I guess I really don't think about it like that. I'm so just wrapped up in trying to help people. I really feel empathy and just a sense of urgency to need to do more for our people during this time, right? Our constituents are so, hurting in different ways for different matters. And I don't have the chance to step back and think about myself, if that makes sense. I'm not thinking about, oh, you're making history, you're doing this. I'm just thinking about what can I do to help people and protect them. And so I really don't, take a step back to think about myself because the work is just so full. I'm just focused on that,
So you keep going.
I just keep going. You have to.
Well, I don't mind telling you this. I mean, I get folks in my universe that say to me, how does she do it? A mother, a leader, a career, Congress, all of those titles. And people say to me, how does she balance all that? And
well, that's the answer to the question. I don't know. I take it day by day. Sometimes, Senator, people want to talk to me about next week. And I'm I'm just in today. I'm not sure about next week. But yeah, it's a sacrifice. People look at Congress sometimes and it looks very glorifying and fun, but it's really a sacrifice. I mean, you're spending most of your days in D.C., you're away from your family. Like I said, I have a 9-year-old where I have to balance, being a mom, a wife. So it can be really taxing and rough sometimes. Yeah.
Well, appreciate you stepping up to that. But got to ask just a couple other things. So young people that may be listening to this, right? We've talked about the mentorship and some of that. Any words of advice, how to move forward?
Yeah. So for young people, I would say, get out of the mindset that politics is not for you. Stop saying, hey, I don't do the politics. Don't think like that because politics is doing you each and every day. And when you're not engaged and you're not involved, they'll just roll right over you like you don't even matter. And I think young people have to find what matters most to them and really, I'm not asking for you to have a PhD in political science. I'm asking for you to know the basics of what is happening right now in politics and having the factual information, right? Staying woke, staying informed about what is happening so that you can make decisions for your life, because it matters. And you can't count on all politicians to be doing that for you. They're just not trustworthy like that. That's the truth. Not everyone.
It's true.
It's really true. And so you have to, have some accountability yourself. Yeah.
And vote.
And vote. Yep.
Let's vote.
And vote. That's a very important piece because, Senator, you know this, elections have consequences, and we are living it out right now with our president.
Yes, we are. Let me ask you to close with this. As I mentioned, our theme today is Black History. Any thoughts on whether it's your legacy or messaging or things like that you may want to leave with folks today?
Well, I think when it's all said and done, when I'm done with this post, I want people to know, or I want people to feel, because it's all about how people feel, really, that I helped them and I did all that I could with every piece of power that I have, even through personal sacrifices, Senator, that I really did all that I could to protect them, help them, and fight for what is right to make their lives better. That is the legacy that I am working each and every day to leave when I leave here, because I won't, I'll be here for a fair time, God willing, if the voters put me back there, but I won't be here for a very, very, very long time, if that makes sense. But so I'm always thinking about how people will, view me, and that's how I really want to work towards that, that legacy, really, how they see me in the work that I do. Yeah.
Well, your work is your validator, and people see it and know it, so you don't need it from me, but from someone who has, which I consider to be the honor of working with you at some level.
Yeah, it's been fun. It feels like it's been 10 years, right?
It does. Yeah, it does. But your work ethic and quite frankly, your enthusiasm and your vision and your ability to stand up is just something not only I truly admire, but I think in February when we celebrate those who blaze trails for others, you're blazing a trail that is just an honor to be a little bit of a part of in your success. Because your success is our success.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for you. Like, we have been kind of bonded at the hip since day one. And like I said, it feels like it was 10 years ago, but literally just 3 years we're into it. But it's really good to have a great partner, in the state Senate. And then in our communities, you're like really on the ground. And we really appreciate that. All of our work working together, it really has made a difference. So looking forward to keep doing it, but with better days ahead.
With better days ahead. This has been another Cup of Joe, with the great honor and privilege of having Congresswoman LaMonica McIver with us. Thanks so much, LaMonica, for joining us. We'll see you for the next Cup of Joe.
That's a wrap on this episode of A Cup of Joe, hosted by Senator Joseph Cryan. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you again for another cup.